Luke Carter had always believed in the strength of family. His father, Bill Carter, was the rock of their small town, a mechanic known for his integrity, loyalty, and work ethic. He was the kind of man who could be relied on no matter the circumstance, the one who held everything together after the death of Luke's mother. But that all changed on one cold winter night when Bill was found murdered in his shop, leaving the town in shock and Luke's world shattered. At just 16 years old, Luke found himself alone, clinging to the memory of his father. The police investigation led to dead ends, and after months of silence, Bill's murder was left unsolved. No leads, no suspects, just a burning question that never left Luke's mind. Who could have killed his father? The years passed, but the pain never truly went away. Luke grew up, became a man, and worked at a local law firm. But the question that haunted him never disappeared. Who killed Bill Carter? Then, one night, when Luke thought he had finally come to terms with his loss, everything changed. It started with a phone call. The voice on the other end was shaky, distorted, but the words were unmistakable. "I know who killed your father." Luke's heart raced. Who was this? Why now? After all these years? Before he could ask another question, the call ended abruptly. No name, no trace. Just the revelation that would send him down a path he never expected. The cryptic phone call pushed Luke to do what he had been avoiding for years, search for the truth. He reached out to old friends of his father's, retraced his father's steps, and sifted through records that had been long forgotten. The more he dug, the closer he got to something dark. Secrets about his father's past, debts he never spoke of, and rumors about Bill's possible ties to a notorious local gang. Every clue Luke uncovered brought him closer to an uncomfortable truth. His father, the man he had always seen as a hero, wasn't the person he thought he was. But just as Luke began to unravel the pieces of this mystery, the danger surrounding him intensified. One night, while working late at his office, Luke received an unsettling text. A picture of his father, alive. The message that accompanied it was chilling. "Meet me at the old warehouse on the edge of town if you want the truth." Midnight. Luke didn't hesitate. The possibilities flooded his mind. Was it a cruel joke? Or had his father somehow survived all these years? He raced to the warehouse, his heart pounding in his chest. The place felt abandoned, the air thick with tension. Inside, the shadows seemed to swallow him whole. Then, a voice broke the silence. "Did you really think you could bury this forever, Luke?" Luke froze. His eyes locked onto the figure in front of him, and his blood ran cold. It was his uncle, the man who had been a father figure to him since Bill's death. Luke demanded the truth, but the response shattered everything he thought he knew about his family. "You never knew the truth about your father, Luke. He wasn't the man you thought he was. He was a liability, and I made sure to take care of it." Luke's world collapsed. His uncle, the one person who had always been there for him, was responsible for his father's death. But before Luke could process it all, his uncle advanced, a glint of metal catching the faint light from the warehouse windows. And then, just as the tension reached its peak, a loud bang rang through the warehouse. Luke stood frozen, staring at the body of his uncle lying motionless on the floor. Blood pooled beneath him, and for a moment Luke could hardly breathe. His uncle, the man who had helped raise him, was dead. The man responsible for his father's murder was now gone. But as his shock began to wear off, another voice from the shadows rang out. "Luke, you didn't think you could get away with it, did you?" The woman stepped into view. Dark hair, piercing eyes, and a confident smile that sent chills down Luke's spine. "Who the hell are you?" he demanded. She smirked, her voice calm but loaded with menace. "Your father wasn't murdered because of money or debts. It wasn't about your uncle's dirty secrets. It was about you." Luke recoiled, trying to understand what she meant. "Me? What the hell do you mean it was about me?" Her smile widened as she stepped closer. Your father wasn't just a mechanic. He was protecting something much bigger than you realized. He started to fight back when he found out who was after it. And your uncle? He was willing to do whatever it took to keep it hidden. Luke's mind spun. What truth? The woman's voice dropped to a whisper. Your uncle wasn't the one pulling the strings. You were. Your father died trying to protect you from something that would destroy everything you thought you knew about yourself. The weight of her words hit Luke like a freight train. He could hardly process what was happening. But then the woman pulled out an old, yellowed photograph and handed it to him. This, she said, is what you're really after. Luke's eyes widened as he studied the photo. The man in it, someone he didn't recognize, stood next to his father. Who is this? He whispered. She smiled again. Your real father. Luke's hands shook as he examined the photograph, his mind racing. My real father, he murmured. This was impossible. The woman's eyes glittered with secrets as she revealed the truth about his father's past. Dangerous people, hidden debts, and the web of lies that had surrounded him. But the biggest revelation came when she told him that his real father was still alive. He's been hiding in plain sight, Luke, right under your nose. Your father's death, your uncle's betrayal, it's all part of a much bigger picture. Luke couldn't breathe. What are you talking about? His father had always been his hero, the man who had protected him from everything. But now, it seemed his entire life had been a lie. Suddenly, the creak of a door broke the silence. A figure stepped into the dim light of the warehouse, and Luke's heart stopped. There, standing before him, was the man from the photo, the man who was his real father. Luke stood frozen, staring at the man before him, the man he had never known, the man who, until moments ago, had been a stranger in a photograph, his real father. His mind raced as he tried to process everything he had just uncovered. The woman's cryptic words echoed in his head. Your real father's been hiding in plain sight, Luke. The man stepped forward, his eyes never leaving Luke's. His face was older, scarred by time and regret, but there was no mistaking the resemblance. The same eyes, the same jawline. Luke's heart pounded in his chest, the weight of this truth nearly too much to bear. Luke, the man's voice broke the silence, deep and rough from years of hiding. We don't have much time. Luke's mind spun. What do you mean? What's happening? Why didn't you come for me? His real father's expression softened for a moment, the cold edge of the past slipping away. I didn't come for you because I had to protect you. I had to keep you away from all of this, away from the dangers that have followed me for years. But just as Luke opened his mouth to speak, the woman from earlier stepped forward, her smile widening. It's too late to turn back now, Luke. The choice has already been made. Before Luke could react, the man reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small, intricately carved box. He handed it to Luke with a solemn expression. This is your inheritance, Luke. The truth your father protected, the secrets he died to keep hidden, it's all in here. Luke opened the box, his hands trembling. Inside, there was a letter. He unfolded it slowly, the words scrawled in his father's handwriting. The warehouse felt cold and hollow, as though the weight of everything Luke had learned had sunk into the very bones of the place. The woman's smirk remained, but it no longer felt like a victory. She had revealed the truth, but at what cost? Luke closed the box slowly, his gaze locked on the man who had been hiding in the shadows all these years. I'm not walking away, Luke said, his voice steady, though the gravity of his decision settled on him like a heavy cloak. I'm going to finish what my father started, and I will make sure his death wasn't in vain. With that, Luke turned and walked toward the door of the warehouse, the truth now a burden he was ready to bear. The life ahead would be fraught with danger, filled with lies and enemies lurking in the shadows. But he was no longer afraid. He had found his father's killer. But in doing so, he had uncovered a far darker truth, one that would change everything. Luke Carter's journey has only just begun. And who can he trust now that everything he knew has been shattered? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more true crime stories that will leave you on the edge of your seat.